My son called me at 3 a.m. Dad, I'm at the police station. My wife hit me, then accused me of attacking her. When I walked in, the sergeant went pale and said, Sir, we didn't know who you were. Hey, Reddit. My son called at 3 a.m. from the police station, said his wife hit him, lied, and they arrested him. I went in expecting a mess. I didn't expect them to know my name. Before we get to that, let me start from the beginning. 15 months into retirement, I still wake up before dawn like I'm being paid to worry. Name's Gavin Mercer, 58, former internal affairs for 26 years, now doing the occasional consulting job when a county office panics and needs someone who knows where the bodies get buried. I live alone, quiet house, quiet streets, and a phone that almost never rings after midnight. My son Cole, 35, steady job, steady life, keeps his distance the way grown kids do. Different last names, fewer complications. We're close without saying we're close. The phone rang at 2:53 in the morning. I was already awake, reviewing procurement audit files for a consulting gig some county administrator begged me to take. Dad. My son's voice cracked through the speaker. He hasn't called me that since he turned 30. Switched to Gavin once he landed his supervisor job, said it felt more professional. Hearing that word sent ice down my spine. I need you. Right now, he added. Where? Hillside Station. Tessa hit me. She called 911 and told them I attacked her. His breath hitched. They arrested me, Dad. They didn't even look at my face. I was pulling on my boots before he finished the sentence. Don't say one word to anyone. Not a syllable. I'm 12 minutes out. The drive took 9. I knew what I'd find. Domestic calls were a disaster waiting to happen. Man plus disturbance call equals arrest, evidence optional. I'd investigated enough misconduct cases involving botched DV responses to write a manual on everything cops do wrong. Hillside Station sat on 5th and Maple, same brick building from the 90s that smelled like burnt coffee and institutional neglect. I'd been there exactly once, 6 years back, to review evidence handling procedures after a narcotics case went sideways. Found enough irregularities to get 2 officers suspended and a lieutenant demoted. The desk officer looked up from his computer. Young guy, maybe 27, with a mustache that screamed 6 months out of the academy. Name tag read Officer Patterson. He'd probably just gotten back from a call, still had his vest on. Short-staffed night shift. He was pulling double duty, front desk and patrol. I'm here for Cole Brennan. Patterson barely glanced at me. Are you family or legal? Family. And I know the process. He started writing. Name? Gavin Mercer. The color drained from his face like someone pulled a plug. He stood so fast his chair hit the wall. Sir, I'll get Sergeant Morrison right now. He practically ran down the hallway. I stood there, briefcase in hand, watching him disappear. Recognition wasn't unusual in my line of work, but this reaction seemed excessive even for someone who knew the name. Sergeant Morrison appeared within 20 seconds. Broad-shouldered woman, mid-50s, steel gray hair pulled tight. I recognized her immediately. The Westbrook Precinct scandal. She'd been a patrol supervisor there when I exposed 8 officers running a protection racket with local businesses. 2 went to prison. 5 more got fired. The department's reputation took years to recover, and my name became synonymous with career-ending investigations. Morrison looked like she'd swallowed glass. Mr. Mercer. She didn't extend her hand. I wasn't aware Cole was your son. Different last names keep things clean. I need to see him. Now. Morrison nodded. This way. The holding area looked exactly like every other depressing station I'd audited. Fluorescent lights humming overhead, casting everything in sickly yellow. Cole sat in an interview room, hands wrapped around a styrofoam cup. His right eye was swelling shut, deep purple bruise spreading across his cheekbone. Scratches ran down his neck, angry red lines that looked like claw marks. He looked up when I entered. Relief flooded his face, followed immediately by something that looked like shame. I didn't do anything. I know. Start from the beginning. The story came out in pieces. Tessa had been volatile for months, escalating from accusations to throwing things. Tonight she'd built an entire fantasy about Cole having an affair with a co-worker named Rachel. There was no affair. Rachel was 63 years old, married to another woman for 20 years, and treated Cole like a nephew. She grabbed a lamp and swung at my head, Cole said. His hands trembled. I caught her wrist. She started screaming, hitting me with her other hand. I just tried to hold her away from me. Then she stopped suddenly, went to the bedroom, and called 911. What exactly did she say when she called? That I attacked her. That she was afraid for her safety. That I'd been escalating for weeks. When officers arrived, what did you tell them? That she attacked me first. That I never hit her. Cole's voice dropped. They didn't even photograph my injuries. They just asked Tessa if she felt safe. She said no. They arrested me immediately. I made notes. Did they separate you for interviews? No. They talked to both of us in the same room initially. Then they arrested me and took her statements separately. Morrison knocked on the doorframe. Mr. Mercer, can we talk privately? I stepped into the hallway. Morrison's expression had shifted from worried to defensive. Your son's wife claims he grabbed her aggressively when she confronted him about suspected infidelity. Says he threw her against the wall and threatened her. She has bruising on both wrists and her upper arm. My son has a black eye, facial contusions, and defensive wounds on his neck that look like someone tried to scratch his eyes out. I kept my voice level. Did anyone document those before hauling him in? Officer Patterson made the arrest decision based on the initial call and Mrs. Brennan's statement. So he arrested someone without photographing all injuries, without separating the parties for independent statements, and without considering that the 911 caller might be lying. I let that hang in the air. If he's booked tonight, Cole loses access to the house by morning. Tessa's probably already drafting an emergency petition. Morrison's jaw tightened. What do you want? Release my son immediately. I want copies of all documentation including the 911 recording, body camera footage from both responding officers, and both statements. I want photographs taken of Cole's injuries right now with proper timestamps and chain of custody documentation. And I want Tessa Brennan interviewed again by someone with more than 6 weeks of field experience. I can conduct the interview myself. Good. Make sure you ask her why her story sounds like she read it off a script. Morrison's eyes narrowed. What do you mean? I pulled out my phone and opened a voice memo. I'd started recording the moment Cole said Tessa called 911. I played back a section where Cole repeated what officers told him Tessa said. He's been escalating for weeks. I'm afraid for my safety. He grabbed me aggressively. Listen to that phrasing. Escalating for weeks. Afraid for my safety. Grabbed me aggressively. I looked at Morrison. Maybe she said it exactly like that. Maybe your officers summarized it. But either way, those are the phrases that trigger an automatic arrest. That's not panic language. That's training. Morrison's expression shifted. You think she planned this? I think she knew exactly what buttons to push to get the response she wanted. And Patterson gave it to her without question. Give me an hour. I went back to Cole. They're releasing you. You're staying with me until we figure this out. What about Tessa? What about her? I kept my tone flat. Cole's loyalty was simultaneously admirable and infuriating. She's not well. This isn't like her. Her job's been stressful. Her mother's been sick. She hasn't been sleeping. None of that justifies assault or filing a false police report. I know, but I can't just abandon her. We've been married 5 years. Cole looked at me with desperate hope. Maybe if she gets help, if we can talk this through, we'll discuss options tomorrow. Tonight, you're coming home with me. Morrison processed Cole's release with conditional language. Pending further investigation, subject to review. The moment we were clear, she pulled me aside and handed me a tablet. Evidence viewing terminal. You can review body cam footage and the 911 recording here under supervision. No copies leave the building without proper requests. She met my eyes. But you can take notes. Morrison returned 50 minutes later with Detective Reeves, a veteran investigator I'd never worked with but heard decent things about. Sharp, methodical, didn't let personal biases override evidence. Cole, Detective Reeves needs to photograph your injuries and take your statement. Answer honestly, I'll be outside. The process took over an hour. Reeves was thorough, documenting every scratch, bruise, and mark. When she finished, she found me in the hallway. His account is consistent. Injuries match defensive actions. I'm interviewing Mrs. Brennan now. I want to observe. You know I can't authorize that. Then preserve all footage under your retention policy. I'm filing a preservation notice first thing tomorrow morning, requesting an audit of evidence handling in this case. Reeves studied me for a moment. You're not here as an attorney. I'm here as a father who happens to know how evidence gets lost or conveniently edited when careers are on the line. Make sure everything's preserved properly. She nodded. Observation room. No interference. I watched through one-way glass as Tessa sat in the interview room, looking small and frightened. She'd always been petite, barely 5'4" with delicate features. Blonde hair pulled into a messy ponytail, tear-stained cheeks, wearing yoga pants and an oversized sweater. She looked exactly like Central Casting's idea of a domestic violence victim. Reeves sat across from her, notepad ready. Mrs. Brennan, walk me through tonight's events. Tessa's voice was soft, but controlled. I got home around 6:45. Cole was already there, which was unusual. He's been working late constantly. She twisted her hands together, bruising on her wrist clearly visible. I asked about his day. He seemed distant. When I pressed, he got defensive. What did he say specifically? That I was being paranoid. That I always assumed the worst about him. Tessa's eyes filled with tears. I told him I'd seen messages on his phone from Rachel at work. They seemed inappropriate. Inside jokes, staying late together. He laughed at me, said I was being ridiculous and pathetic. That last word, pathetic. Cole would never use it. He avoided confrontational language like it was radioactive. Reeves made notes. What happened next? I got upset. I admit I raised my voice. I told him I wasn't stupid, that I could see what was happening. Tessa wiped her eyes with calculated timing. He grabbed both my wrists and slammed me against the wall. Told me to shut my mouth or I'd regret it. I tried to get away and he wouldn't let go. I panicked and started hitting him, trying to get free. That's when he finally released me and I ran to call 911. Reeves leaned back. Mrs. Brennan, your husband has significant injuries. Black eye, facial bruising, scratches on his neck. Can you explain those? Like I said, I was fighting to get away. I must have scratched him trying to push him off. Tessa's voice gained strength. What was I supposed to do? Let him hurt me worse? The black eye happened when I was struggling. I didn't mean to hit him that hard, but I was terrified. She looked directly at Reeves. Detective, my husband is 6'1" and works out regularly. I'm barely 5'4". Who do you think would win in a real fight? Reeves interviewed her for another 30 minutes. Tessa never contradicted herself, never showed cracks, always positioning Cole as controlling and herself as frightened. When Reeves emerged, her expression was carefully neutral. Compelling performance. You don't believe her? Reeves's pen stopped moving. She flipped back 3 pages in her notes, underlined something twice. I believe she's had practice lying. I got home close to 6 in the morning. Cole collapsed in the guest room immediately. I went to my office and pulled up the detailed notes I'd taken during the supervised evidence review at the station. Officers Ramirez and Patterson responded at 11:37. Tessa met them at the door, crying and holding her wrists. He grabbed me so hard, wouldn't let go. I was so scared. Please help me. They found Cole in the living room, sitting on the couch with his head in his hands. The lamp, heavy ceramic with a metal base, lay sideways near the coffee table. Cole's face was already swelling, blood from scratches visible on his neck. Sir, stand up and put your hands behind your back, Ramirez ordered. Cole complied immediately. She attacked me. I was defending myself. That's not what we heard. Turn around. Patterson cuffed him, while Ramirez questioned Tessa. Neither officer photographed Cole's injuries. Neither separated them for independent interviews. Patterson made cursory notes while Ramirez called for transport. The 911 recording was more revealing. Tessa's voice, high but controlled. My husband attacked me. He grabbed me aggressively and threatened me. Please send someone quickly. I'm afraid he'll escalate. Every phrase perfectly calibrated. I spent 2 hours reviewing every frame when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. The voice on the other end was male. Mid-30s, aggressive. You Gavin Mercer? Who's asking? Ryan Brennan. Tessa's brother. We need to talk about your son. I'm listening. He put hands on my sister. Made her feel unsafe in her own home. His voice carried that edge violent men use when they think intimidation works. You need to convince him to drop this. Tell him to admit what he did, apologize to Tessa, and walk away clean. Otherwise, things get complicated. Is that a threat? It's advice. From someone who protects family. Ryan's tone sharpened. Cole's making this harder than it needs to be. Tessa's willing to forgive if he takes responsibility. But if he keeps playing victim, if you keep backing him up, people might start asking questions about your credibility. About whether that Westbrook investigation was as clean as you claim. I smiled, though he couldn't see it. You done? Listen carefully. No, you listen. I kept my voice conversational. You just threatened me and my son on a recorded line. You implied you'd fabricate allegations about a closed investigation. And you admitted your sister is willing to drop this if Cole confesses to something he didn't do, which proves she's leveraging the system. The silence on the other end was satisfying. If you contact me, my son, or anyone connected to this case again, I'm documenting this as witness intimidation. Are we clear? Ryan hung up. I immediately saved the recording and sent copies to 3 separate cloud accounts. Then I sent it to Detective Reeves with a brief explanation. She called back within 10 minutes. Well, that was stupid of him. Very. But it proves they're coordinating. Tessa's not acting alone. I'm adding this to the file. I'm also documenting a formal incident report noting threats against you and Cole. If he contacts either of you or any potential witnesses, he's getting charged. I hung up and tried to sleep. Failed, mostly. Around 7, my phone rang again. This time it was Mitchell Torres, a former colleague from my IA days who'd moved into private sector investigations. Gavin. Heard Cole got jammed up. News travels fast. Small town, law enforcement gossip. Mitchell's tone was cautious. Listen, I know you're helping your son, but be careful. Word is Tessa's attorney is planning something. Ethics complaint, maybe. Claiming you're abusing your reputation to manipulate the investigation. Let them try. I'm serious. You're retired, but you're still connected enough to make people nervous. If they can paint you as the problem instead of Tessa's lies, they shift the narrative. Mitchell paused. Just watch your back. This isn't going to stay clean. It never does. Detective Reeves called me late Tuesday afternoon. I've got phone records. 59 calls from Tessa to Cole this week. 31 after midnight. Harassment pattern. Worse, she said. Texts accusing him of cheating, demanding his location, threatening to make him sorry if he lied. She'd also interviewed coworkers. 2 confirmed Tessa had been spiraling for months. Mood swings, confrontations, public scenes. One saw her throw a stapler at Cole in the break room. He'd brushed it off, embarrassed. What about Rachel? I asked. Reeves almost laughed. 63 years old, married to a woman, completely baffled by the affair accusation. Her messages with Cole are about shipment schedules and Thai food, nothing remotely suggestive. So Tessa invented the whole thing. Completely, Reeves said. I'm recommending charges for assault and filing a false report. DA has the final call, but the evidence is solid. After we hung up, I went through the body cam footage again. Something wouldn't stop itching at me. Ramirez and Patterson arrived at 11:37. 2 minutes at the door with Tessa. Inside by 11:39, Cole in cuffs by 11:41. But Ramirez's footage had a gap, 11:39 to 11:40. A perfect black screen. 1 minute gone. I called Reeves. There's a gap in Ramirez's footage. Probably a glitch, she said. Old equipment. Or someone edited it. I kept my tone neutral. I'm filing a preservation notice and requesting an independent review. Gavin, she warned, you're going to make enemies. I've had enemies since Westbrook. This is nothing new, but that missing minute matters. She exhaled. I'll pull the server copies. If something's off, we'll find it. The next morning, an email from Hillside PD Internal Affairs hit my inbox. Subject line, formal inquiry. I sat down. My hand found the desk edge automatically, a habit from years of reading bad news. The complaint accused me of using my former IA position to influence an active investigation, said I intimidated officers, demanded special treatment for my son, and threatened retaliatory audits. The signature at the bottom, Gerald Kessler, attorney at law. I'd never worked directly with Kessler, but his reputation preceded him. Aggressive, opportunistic, ethically flexible. The kind of lawyer who'd sue his own reflection if he thought it blinked wrong. 5 minutes later, my old colleague Mitchell called. Told you they'd come after you. Kessler, I muttered. Of course. He's representing Tessa. Claims you're manipulating the investigation because you're Cole's father and a former IA hammer. I haven't talked to a single witness. Doesn't matter, Mitchell said. He's building a narrative. If he discredits you, he devalues everything Cole says. Be careful, Gavin. This is about to get ugly. It already is. The ethics complaint meant I had to move surgically. Everything documented. Nothing casual. Any misstep, and Kessler would paint me as a washed-up investigator trying to muscle the department. I called Peter Caldwell, an attorney I trusted. Smart, meticulous. Zero tolerance for shortcuts. Peter, I need representation. I heard about Cole, he said. I'm in. Kessler filed an ethics complaint against me. Peter was quiet for a beat. Then you step back. Let me handle the legal work. You stick to oversight. Don't talk to witnesses. Don't show up uninvited anywhere. Don't give Kessler ammunition to claim you're abusing influence. I hate how right you are. I know. Now send me everything. I'll respond to IA and get ahead of him. The week crawled by like punishment. Cole haunted my guest room, ricocheting between guilt, anger, and exhaustion. And above everything floated that damn complaint, a storm cloud waiting to break. Thursday, Reeves called again. This time her voice carried an edge. That missing minute? It wasn't a glitch. Someone accessed the server and deleted it 3 hours after the arrest. Who? We don't know. Admin login, generic username, could be anyone with access. She sounded frustrated. This person knew exactly what they were doing. Covered their tracks. Can you recover it? Tech's trying. Maybe. It means someone inside wanted that minute gone, I said. Whatever happened contradicted Tessa's story. Or it proved Cole's, Reeves added. I'm taking this to Captain Hernandez. Hernandez was old school, 28 years on the job, reputation for cracking down hard on misconduct. If evidence tampering happened in his house, there'd be hell to pay. Good, I said. Make sure he knows someone tampered with evidence in an active case. That's a felony. He knows. Friday morning, my phone rang. Captain Hernandez. Mr. Mercer, my office, 1 hour. When a man like Hernandez calls you in, you clear your schedule. His office was sparse. Commendations, family photos, a neat desk. He motioned for me to sit. Detective Reeves tells me you identified possible evidence tampering and that you've stayed in your lane despite the ethics complaint. I know the rules, I said. I'm not trying to create problems. Good, he leaned forward, because I reviewed the deletion myself. Someone logged into our evidence server using credentials belonging to a supervisor who was off duty. The login came from an IP address tied to a coffee shop miles from here. So someone stole credentials and deleted evidence remotely. Exactly. This wasn't a panic move. It was calculated. I've opened a full internal investigation. Whoever did this will face criminal charges. I appreciate your transparency, I said. But I need to know, what was in that missing minute? Hernandez opened a recovered fragment on his computer. Not the full video, but enough. The footage was grainy, jagged around the edges, but the audio was clear. It showed Patterson at the door talking to Tessa while Ramirez walked inside. Tessa. He grabbed me so hard, I'm scared. Patterson. Did he hit you? Tessa. Not exactly, but he was aggressive. He threatened me. Patterson. What did he threaten? There was a long pause. 4 seconds. Then Tessa's voice shifted, uncertain, reaching for something that sounded like fear. He said I'd regret making accusations. Patterson. That's a threat. We'll handle this. The clip cut out. Hernandez closed the screen. That pause tells the whole story. She was improvising. Patterson fed her the language she needed to make an arrest stick. Someone deleted it because it showed coaching, I said. Exactly. And that someone will face consequences. Hernandez's expression hardened. This also means Patterson's arrest of your son was based on a manufactured statement. The DA dropped all charges this morning. She's reviewing whether to charge Tessa. I stood. Thank you, Captain. Don't thank me yet. This is about integrity, not favors. He offered his hand. But I am sorry your son got caught in the middle of this. I shook his hand and walked out, knowing one thing for certain. The real fight had just begun. Peter called me Saturday morning. We have a problem. What now? Key witness is backing out. Jennifer Kemp, the co-worker who saw Tessa throw the stapler, says she's not comfortable testifying anymore. Why? She didn't say, but someone got to her. His frustration was obvious. Without her, the pattern still stands, but it's thinner. Can we compel her? We can try, but if she's scared, she could recant on the stand. I hung up and called Mitchell. I need you to dig quietly. How quiet? Background only. Who she talked to? Anything unusual? No contact. A pause, then a sigh. You know this could blow up. I know. Do it anyway. 6 hours later, he called back. Ryan Brennan showed up at Jennifer's house Thursday night. Neighbors saw him. 20 minutes inside. She looked shaken when he left. He threatened her. We can't prove it. No recording, no witnesses. But it smells like intimidation. And Gavin, pushing this might escalate things. Ryan doesn't strike me as someone who walks away. Then we make sure he faces consequences. Monday, Peter filed a motion requesting Jennifer Kemp be deposed under oath about any contact from parties tied to the case, explicitly citing concerns about witness tampering. Kessler exploded predictably, accusing us of harassment and filing for sanctions. Judge Walsh, late 50s, former prosecutor, famously unforgiving about witness intimidation, dragged everyone into chambers. Peter and I sat on one side, Kessler and Tessa on the other. Ryan wasn't there in person, but his shadow sure was. Walsh fixed Kessler with a stare that could peel paint. Mr. Kessler, I've reviewed the motions. Has anyone associated with Mrs. Brennan contacted Miss Kemp? Not to my knowledge, Your Honor. Your knowledge is insufficient. She turned to Tessa. Ma'am, have you or anyone acting on your behalf contacted, threatened, or intimidated any witness? Tessa's voice cracked. No, Your Honor. What about your brother, Ryan Brennan? Tessa hesitated. Ryan is protective, but he wouldn't. That's not the question. Has he contacted any witnesses? Another long pause. I don't know what he does on his own time. Walsh's expression hardened. If I find evidence of tampering, I will deny your restraining order petition and refer criminal charges. Am I clear? Yes, Your Honor. She turned to Peter. Motion granted. Ms. Kemp will be deposed. If she refuses or lies, she faces contempt. Thank you, Your Honor. The expedited deposition took place Wednesday. Jennifer looked terrified, hands trembling, eyes darting everywhere but the camera. Ms. Kemp, Peter began, has anyone contacted you regarding your testimony? Yes. Who? Ryan Brennan. He came to my house Thursday night. What did he say? He told me to think carefully, that testifying would be a mistake, that people who make accusations against his family tend to regret it. Her voice dropped. He didn't threaten me outright, but I knew what he meant. Did you report it? No, I was afraid. Are you still afraid? Yes. She straightened slightly. But I'm more afraid of lying under oath. Everything I told Detective Reeves was true. Tessa threw the stapler. She wanted to hurt Cole. The transcript went to the court, the district attorney, and Captain Hernandez that afternoon. Kessler immediately filed an emergency motion to suppress the testimony. Walsh denied it within 2 hours. That evening, my doorbell rang. Ryan Brennan, alone, hands visible, shoulders tight. I cracked the door but kept the screen locked. You're trespassing. We need to talk. Man to man, he said. Nothing you say matters. Leave. You don't get it, he pleaded. Tessa's been through hell. Cole pushed her to it, made her think he was cheating, rubbed that Rachel woman in her face. She snapped. Anyone would. All this legal crap is making everything worse. Just tell him to walk away. They both move on. I raised an eyebrow. Is this your idea of negotiation? I'm trying to keep this from getting uglier. You've got a reputation, Mercer. Westbrook made you a name. But reputations break. Push this, and people might start asking if you planted evidence back then. If maybe those officers were telling the truth about you. I held up my phone so he could see the recording light. You just admitted Tessa attacked Cole, and you just threatened to fabricate allegations against me about a closed investigation. His face flushed dark red. You son of a... I'm calling 911. You have 10 seconds to get off my property. He left, barely. But the look he shot over his shoulder promised he wasn't finished. I sent the recording to Reeves, Peter, and Hernandez. Peter filed for restraining orders for both Cole and me that night. By Thursday morning, Ryan Brennan was in handcuffs. Witness intimidation, criminal threats, criminal trespass. Bail set at $20,000. Tessa's mother, Carol, came unglued in the station parking lot, screaming about persecution and corruption. Ryan was protecting his sister. You people are destroying my family. Hernandez himself stepped outside. Ma'am, your son threatened witnesses and violated warnings. Those are crimes. If you continue disrupting operations, you will be arrested. She backed off, but not quietly, posting online within the hour about a corrupt former investigator using connections to destroy a victim's family. It got 43 shares before someone pointed out that attacking the father of the alleged domestic violence victim was an odd choice if she wanted sympathy. Meanwhile, Jennifer's deposition stood. Ryan was in jail. Kessler's strategy was collapsing, and Tessa's case was about to follow. The restraining order hearing was scheduled for the following Monday. Kessler had filed Tessa's petition, claiming she feared for her safety and requesting Cole be barred from their shared house. Peter was handling the legal work. My job was to stay quiet and let the evidence speak. Sunday afternoon, everything went sideways. Cole and I were reviewing his testimony when my phone rang. Dispatch number. Mr. Mercer, this is Officer Santos from Hillside PD. We're at your son's residence responding to a disturbance. Your presence is requested. What kind of disturbance? Ma'am claimed someone broke into the house and destroyed property. She's saying it was your son. We'll be there in 15 minutes. The drive felt longer than it was. When we arrived, 3 patrol cars were parked outside. Tessa stood on the lawn talking to officers, gesturing emphatically. The front door was open. I could see broken glass and overturned furniture from the street. Officer Santos met us at the property line. Mr. Mercer, Cole, your wife claims someone broke in and trashed the house. She says she was out grocery shopping and came home to find this. Cole looked genuinely shocked. I haven't been here since the arrest. Can you prove that? I've been staying with my dad. We've been together all day. Santos made notes. The destruction appears targeted. Electronics smashed, clothing shredded, photos broken, but nothing valuable is missing. No TV, no jewelry, no cash. I kept my voice neutral. Who reported it? Mrs. Brennan called 911 about 40 minutes ago. Claimed she came home from the store and found this. Did she provide receipts showing when she was shopping? Not yet. I'd recommend checking timestamps on those purchases. I met Santos's eyes. I'd also recommend photographing everything before it gets disturbed further. Santos nodded slowly. Already done. And we're pulling security footage from neighbors' cameras. The investigation took 3 hours. During that time, Detective Reeves arrived and questioned Tessa extensively. Her story kept shifting. First, she was shopping for an hour, then it was 90 minutes. Then she couldn't remember exactly when she left. Reeves pulled me aside around 6. Neighbor across the street has a camera. Shows Tessa leaving the house at 2:15 p.m. with grocery bags already in her car. She came back at 3:30, went inside for 45 minutes, then came back out and called 911. So she destroyed her own house during those 45 minutes, then claimed Cole did it. Looks that way. We found a receipt in the trash from a grocery store dated yesterday. She bought the food yesterday, kept it in her car overnight, then used it as an alibi for today. Reeves shook her head. This was planned. She wanted documentation of Cole being destructive and violent. Can you prove it? Circumstantially, yes. Direct evidence is harder. But when I add this to the pattern of false reports, it builds a compelling case. Tessa was questioned for another hour. When Reeves finished, Tessa's composure had completely shattered. She was crying, angry, defensive, rotating through emotions like someone testing which one would work. Reeves approached Cole and me. I'm recommending additional charges against Mrs. Brennan for filing another false report and potentially for insurance fraud if she tries to claim this on her homeowner's policy. What about the restraining order hearing? I'll be providing my report to the court. Judge Walsh will see exactly what happened here. We left around 8. Cole was quiet during the drive. She's not going to stop, is she? His voice was flat, exhausted. She's going to keep escalating until something breaks. People like Tessa don't stop when they're losing. They double down. I glanced at him. But she's also making mistakes now. Desperation creates sloppiness. What if she does something worse? Then we document it and make sure she faces consequences. The restraining order hearing Monday morning was pure theater. Kessler tried to paint Tessa as a terrified victim, trapped in an abusive marriage, but Peter systematically dismantled every claim. He presented phone records showing Tessa's obsessive calling pattern, witness statements from co-workers about her erratic behavior, Jennifer Kemp's deposition about the stapler incident, Detective Reeves's report about the staged house destruction, the recovered body cam footage showing Patterson feeding Tessa her statement. Kessler fought hard, but the evidence mountain was overwhelming. Judge Walsh reviewed everything with the kind of cold efficiency that made lawyers nervous. When she finally looked up, her expression was granite. Mrs. Brennan, I've reviewed all evidence and testimony. I find your petition lacks any credibility whatsoever. The pattern of behavior documented here shows you were the aggressor, that you filed false reports, and that you've attempted to manipulate the legal system to punish your husband for imagined offenses. Walsh paused. I'm not only denying your restraining order request, I'm issuing a restraining order against you on behalf of Cole Brennan. You are to have no contact with him. You are barred from his workplace. You will vacate the shared residence within 72 hours. Tessa stood abruptly. This is insane. He's lying. His father is manipulating. Sit down, Mrs. Brennan, or I'll hold you in contempt. Walsh's voice could have cut steel. Tessa sat, shaking. Furthermore, Walsh continued, I'm forwarding this entire case file to the district attorney with a recommendation for prosecution on multiple counts of filing false reports, perjury, and evidence tampering conspiracy. You've wasted law enforcement resources and attempted to destroy an innocent person's life. That will have consequences. Court adjourned. Kessler walked out without speaking to Tessa. She sat alone at the table, staring at nothing. Cole and I left through the side exit. Outside, he stopped and took his first deep breath in weeks. That night, Peter called. Tessa's new attorney wants to meet. Public defender named White. Says she has information about who deleted the body cam footage in exchange for consideration on sentencing. What kind of information? Text messages between Ryan and Patterson. Proof of coordination. She's willing to testify against both of them if the DA reduces her charges. Why the sudden cooperation? Ryan cut contact after his arrest, took his plea and disappeared. She's angry and looking for leverage. The meeting happened 2 days later at Peter's office. Tessa's attorney, David White, brought documented proof, text messages showing Ryan contacting Patterson after the arrest, asking him to handle the body cam problem. Patterson had used a supervisor's stolen login credentials from a coffee shop to make it look like an outside breach. He expected $5,000 in cash. The payment never came. Ryan ghosted him after taking his plea deal. The district attorney moved fast. Patterson was arrested within 48 hours. The ethics complaint against me was withdrawn after Captain Hernandez provided a detailed clearance report. Tessa received 18 months in county jail and 5 years probation in exchange for her testimony. The judge's sentencing statement was brutal. Mrs. Brennan, you weaponized the legal system against an innocent person. You manipulated law enforcement, perjured yourself, and showed no remorse. The only reason you're not serving more time is because your cooperation exposed corruption. That doesn't absolve you. Patterson got 3 years in state prison for evidence tampering and obstruction. Ryan violated probation 8 months later by creating a fake social media account to contact Cole. He went back for another year. 6 months after everything ended, I met Cole for breakfast at a diner near his new apartment. He'd sold the house, bought a smaller place closer to work, started dating a teacher named Olivia. He looked different, lighter. The weight he'd been carrying was gone. You did good, I said. We did good. Cole smiled. I've been thinking about what you said that first night, about how some people manipulate the system because they know how it works. And I'm glad I had someone who knew how to fight back. He paused. Not everyone gets that. No, they don't. We finished breakfast and walked out into cold morning air. Cole headed to work. I went home to review files for a new consulting case. Allegations of evidence tampering in a small-town department 3 counties over. The fight never really ends. But this time, we'd won. And sometimes, late at night when sleep wouldn't come, I'd remember Cole's voice at 2:53 in the morning saying, "Dad, I need you." And I'd think about all the people who made that same call with nobody on the other end who knew how to answer. That thought kept me working. Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.